Welcome everyone. Today we're having yet another one of our meetings. Um, Today's our topic will be about um, Eid al-Adha. Now, we only one here at the moment. Now, let's for the moment just go to the event section and I will show you what it is about. Eid al-Adha in Rostov 2024. As you know, many Muslims today all around the world are celebrating one of their perhaps key holidays that's called Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Adha can be translated as the big Eid, the major Adha, and it's basically an animal sacrifice where they're basically cutting off the goats, the sheep's, but usually it's the goat's head. I'm quite simplifying everything here, but it's not the key point. The key point is that how this holiday was celebrated across various communities. Oh, beg my pardon, I'm not sharing my screen. Let's just share my screen. Screen sharing all 1.4K, 60 FPS. Let's go. That's better. So, as I mentioned, Eid al-Adha can be translated as the big Eid. It's a feast, basically, an animal sacrifice. Oh, well, basically, it's this holiday when God went to and said to Abraham, Abraham, you need to sacrifice your only son, and he was about to do that, but then he was stopped by God himself, and he was said that I'm just trying to ask you how devoted you are to my religion. Well, that's how Christianity at least explains it. But of course we know that Islam is always quite different, always. Nonetheless, what we'll be talking about here is how it was celebrated across, of course, all the various communities, but particular in Rostov in 2024. As you can probably well, it's lagging a bit. As you can probably get from this picture, it didn't go perfectly well, not as planned as many people have hoped it would be. And now we're going to take a deep dive into what was happening behind the scenes all this time in Russia. So, without further ado, let us begin. On this very day, on the 16th of June 2024, a group of several arrested people, arrestees, have decided to take hostages. They've planned an assault and to escape the prison where they were held captives. As you can see, I'm just typing a simple word in Russian. That means the detention center, and boom, we're getting 10 hours ago, 7 hours ago, 6 hours ago, etc, etc, etc. Oop, all of a sudden. I'm going to make one quick note. All of this news can be fake and staged. What I'm going to tell you is going to be the truth to the very last bit. Not a single piece of news I'll be telling you now is imagined, made up out of thin air. All of that, what I'll be talking about, was real, has footage as the evidence, and is available in the internet. Because sometimes this news may be saying stuff like, for example, well, they were coordinated by the West, well, they were coordinated by the Ukrainian forces, by the USA. That's a total bluff. I'll be talking and I'll be saying the absolute verity that there can only exist. So, let's get started. As I said, around 3-4 o'clock in the early morning, a group of around 6 people who were charged with terrorism previously broke the window in their prison cell And despite it was, protected with some iron bars, they literally broke it as they had previously weakened it, by just touching it, shattering it constantly, hitting it with your feet, and etc. Why was it happening today? Well, first of all, as you could probably see by this pic, this guy who's wearing an ISIS badge, like the Hamas is wearing, he doesn't have the simplest intentions regarding his holding a knife, and we have a captive, a hostage, who is just, a very young, like 25-year-old boy sitting over here. No idea why the photos were censored. This guy didn't get harmed. This guy got harmed. So no idea why they would censor it, but he's totally fine. But nonetheless, you could see what's happening. And I'm gonna tell you why it is important. Today is a Muslim holiday, so it would be expected that a lot of Muslims would be in Moscow, so the security would be on the top level. At the same day, less special forces would be available to arrive on time and prevent the takeover of the prison. However, what is also supposed to be mentioned is that it is a religiously significant holiday, so killing this person would be significant, as he's an infidel technically, he's not a Muslim. So killing him wouldn't be something of a shame, it would be an act of honor and of pride as well. Now, around 3-4 o'clock, they took out the window sill with the iron bars. They took the hostages, captivated some arms, knives, anything, any sharp object they could find. They also have taken the police batons. And after some time, around 9 o'clock, all the news all around the media started to appear. As you can see, it is just around 10 p.m. All the news are here, very recent. So they're just summing up all the information, but they're not being the exact. However, this is the uncensored pic. That's cool. But as you can see, this guy, we have there again blurred out ISIS patch. No idea why. You can see actually. Let's open that in a open image in a new private tab, so we can have a more close look. This guy over here is wearing some, I guess, radio communication technology, a blurred out ISIS flag because it's a terrorist organization. I'm not sure when it becomes a civilian one yet. We have a police baton in his other hand, and I will show you the original clip where he just walks out and says, well, these are the trophies we have for the moment. Let's get over the news. So I've got a bunch of video saved here, as you can see on my right side. So around 9 a.m. in the Rostov region, in the local detention center, the arrestees have captured 2 workers of this organization, GUFSIN, which is translated as the main directorate of the Federal Service for the Execution of Punishments. A very, large name, but basically it means the guys who work with the arrestees in jails and various other detention centers. So they've captured 2 workers. At the same time, all the police affiliated with the Ministry of Domestic Affairs and Rosgvardia. If you don't know what that means, it's basically like, well, some people prefer to call them like Putin's bodyguard. But those are highly trained people. They are actually very well trained, and they're just like, how should I say them? The Russian guardsmen, basically. They are being armed and sent to that detention center on the street of Maxim Gorky. He was a writer, a very prominent one as well in the 20th century. So also a lot of ambulance was sent over there. The road to the detention center was barricaded, and there were negotiations held to free the aforementioned 2 hostages. Now let's look at the very first tweet that appeared in the web. Let's hop over to Discord. Oh, we've got some in the audience. So, the very first vid we're going to see here is this one. Let me just make it bigger. And I'm going to turn up the volume a bit, cause on the footage itself it might be a bit quiet. This guy is speaking very quiet. Let me turn it even more.
Иншаллах, в Ростовском централе, когда наши братья сажают, дают срока, Бизиляй, Тааля, муджахиды исламского государства захватили централ, захватили куфаров в плен, иншаллах, он себя муджахиды Аллаха. Так, Александр, есть что сказать? Скажи пару слов, свои эмоции, ощущения. Люди настроены серьезно. Слышите их. Пока такие троты.
Alright, now we'll get to comment in the vid. So in the first vid the guy says Inshallah, basically glory to Allah. He's wearing an ISIS patch, he's holding a knife. You can see that his arm actually here is in this angled position. He basically broke his arm, that's why he has this, self-made bandage. While he was jumping from the... Okay, how was it? They were contained on the 4th floor. They got to the 3rd floor using the self-made rope out of bed sheets, and then jumped from there. While doing so, he broke his arm, that's why he has his coat serving as a support for his arm. He's quite nervous, I guess it could be from the pain. He's saying they're from the ISIS state. We can see a young guy over here, he's just 23, 24 years old. He's holding a knife, he's looking very nervous at the same time. Now, when we're switching to here, you can see a group of people. That's the second hostage, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Again people, and the last guy is walking somewhere on the back. Now we're getting to him. You can see he has blood on his elbows, so he was probably dragged on the ground, maybe beaten a bit slightly. He has his coat unzipped, so he would have no bulletproof vest. They would see he has no knives whatsoever. They're asking him what he can comment on. They're saying that he is just saying that these guys are serious. Notice how we have the beard over here. Don't switch. And now we'll go back. And this is the guy I was talking about in the beginning. We can see the unblurred at the moment ISIS flag, and this guy is saying we have these trophies for now. Let's just rewatch this bit. He's just saying this. Also, during the vid over here somewhere. Yes. This sound, I think from the electroshocker. I think it's likely to be the electroshocker sound. So they also got not only the radio communications, but the electroshocker, police batons, knives, and simple equipment like that. Fortunately, they got no firearms though. This is the first vid. Let's close it for now. Now let's go to the second video we have. We have the same guy who is like the chief of their gang. He'll be giving more comments. You can see it's very bright on the street, so it's likely to be around 9 AM at this point. You can say, he says Inshallah, in the name of Allah. Also we can hear the siren on the background signifying that it became publicly known they are on the territory of this detention center.
Подготовил сам Всевышний Аллах своими знамениями. Это не сделано все спонтанно. Это не сделано все просто так, что мы поставили этим кафирам, куфарам условия по милости Аллаха, чтобы они нам дали машину, и мы ушли с ними. Посмотрим, что дальше будет. Просим Аллаха, чтобы мы не попали с ним, чтобы Аллах принял нас.
Okay, I'm an idiot. You know I'm an idiot because this guy is not the chief guy. It's, I think, their sec. I'm not sure who either of them is the guy, because this guy may look similar to unimaginable extent, but he has less mustache, first of all, than the second guy. And also notice this guy has his hand, in this angle position which is broken, whether this guy can easily move his hands around. And also over here, if we watch down, we can see just this guy. You can see again, you can see his hand being wrapped. He's also a beard. Again, you can see just around here that he has his hand held by his jacket. So these are all the 6 people we have. Again, he says that we've been trained by Allah himself. It was his purpose, his to honor him in his glory. We didn't do it by ourselves. We were directed by Allah. And when we keep listening, we can see the ISIS flag on the background. Then the guy takes it down, comes with it to the screen, shows it. You can see that this flag was actually drawn by them. So though the video quality is poor, you can see that it's not printed. It's literally drawn on some black sheet of paper of textile they got somewhere from. You can see they literally took a paintbrush and draw what they have here. You can see that on the other side that this is actually paint. So this is handmade, homemade. If I guess jail can be a home. He is now taking it. He's clearly honoring the flag, because he wants to show that this is the item he appreciates for, of course, religious reasons. And what he's saying, he's also calling these guys kafirs. Depends. Let's in this moment. Yeah, he's saying. He says kafirum, kutarum. Basically, kafir is a term for non-Muslims. So if you're Christian, if you're Jewish, if you're a Hindu, if you're a Buddhist, if you're any of other religion other than Muslim, you would be a kafir, an infidel, a non-believer, disbeliever. And what this guy, we've given our conditions to the kafirs. We want a car provided, we'll take the hostages and we'll go free. And by the will of Allah, we're not going to go down as captives. And the guy behind the camera says, hopefully not as live. So they wanted to get killed. They said that they want to go down to get killed, to get killed specifically, not to be taken alive. Well, and he's saying then that hopefully Allah will take them perhaps to paradise. Taking the car and living with them. We'll see what will be in the future. We'll ask Allah not to be taken by them. And the guy says behind the camera, alive, not to be taken alive. And he says that we hope that Allah will accept us. I guess he wants to be like a mujahid. Mujahid is an Arabic term for, a martyr who died while he was fulfilling some highly religious purpose. So in this case, these guys see them as mujahids. They want basically to fight for their religion. That's why they're being so highly religious about it. Well, that is the second bit. Anything in the chat for this moment? Oh my lord. Now, third vid we're going to go through will be this one. Oh, actually, no. Let's go to the fourth vid we have over here. It shows another video from the same place, taken by them. This one has no sound, so I can comment it. They're showing the entrance to the prison. We can see that everything is being held by bars. We can see the barbed wire just over here. We can see the signal lights to signify. So everything is being protected. This place looks ancient as hell. So you got to tell it was definitely like a poor modern or very poor Soviet construction, but it definitely gives off the vibe of a prison basically. Here we have the same guy with a broken arm. He's been nervous, holding the knife because he's unsure what to do in the future. This guy is just, I don't know, just lost. It might be actually the very first video that they've shown. Yeah, it might be the first video. Let's see. So, He's just saying something to the camera. It might be the first vid, but just uncut. And now we can see the operator walking over here. This is, by the way, the trash can where they will be killed. They will be all killed. All 6 of them are going to get killed. We'll go to that more in the future. I'm not going to show the pics as I'm going to get banned. And some of you cannot be mentally prepared, but I've seen the uncensored versions of them getting killed. It's pretty awesome. I'm gonna share that later. But for now, let's look at that. You can see they're all just squatting, sitting here, showing the prison itself. Again, a lot of barbed wires, cells, with the wire, and more backpacks where they store their arms. The ISIS flag again over there, just showing the surroundings. The light is still on. Might be early morning. This guy is saying something again. The beard, the gloves, the knife. Looks like some culinary knife. This guy has actually a proper good knife, you can see. A very sharp one as well. Now we'll actually show you what happened at night. So these guys escaped from somewhere, and this somewhere couldn't be just any place from the prison, of course, but when it was happening at 3 o'clock, it turns out that some of the cellmates, not in their cell but in other cells, saw them escaping and took a video about that. It's rare footage, you're not gonna see it everywhere. And they're saying, they're cursing of course, but they're saying we have the escape taking place. It's hard to see, but you can see the window over there is being like broken. Oh, actually what you can see here is a bit of rope. If you can see here, we have a rope here with, so this is where my cursor at is this one is a rope, and this is a big knot that they made. This rope was made out of bed sheets that they're using to climb down. From the upstairs, he says. And this guy then says that these guys, the Muslims. He's saying they're not going to pass the guards. They can escape the cell, but they cannot pass the guards. And then the voice on the back says that those are the terrorists sitting. And then the main author confirms, yeah, these guys are the terrorists who are escaping. And then the guy is saying you can actually see the perfect rope here. Just a very fine rope made out of bed sheets. And then the guy is saying that we are screwed. We are we will be greatly screwed tomorrow. It's going to be Federal Security Service, is going to be every special forces available, no connection, no mobile data, nothing. As he basically starts to complain that he is screwed as hell. And again, you can see the rope. Again, and you can see the body, the guy himself climbing down, and now he jumps. And then he jumps. You could see him climbing down just over here, and then he jumps from the 3rd floor to the ground floor. And that's the sound of the fall. Remember that one of them broke their arms while doing so. We should be also mentioned here that the terrorists, according to some data, have planned their escape in advance. Really in advance. So they've taken months of preparation to properly plan their escape and how they're going to take over the hostages. Now let's watch another vid. This vid happened around 7, not 7, where did that go? that happened around at 11:35. This clip happened. So this is, by the way, the prison itself. You can hear gunshots on the background. Let's watch one more vid. Is it here somewhere by any chance? Oh, this one didn't save. Well, this vid was basically about the ambulance entering the prison cell. And this vid is after the terrorists were killed by the Russian special forces. You can see the ambulance, the yellow ones, the most urgent ones. All the media is here, all the guys commenting, taking pictures there. These are the prison guards who arrived from the main facility. They've blocked the streets, they've blocked the entrances to that, and now we'll get back to commenting. So when it comes to commenting, let's comment on a number of things. First of all, they wanted to get the firearms. Let's have a look at this speak while doing so. They wanted to acquire firearms, however, they couldn't do so because the entrances were immediately shut down when the emergency went off. They had the intentions, they actually thought they could escape, they couldn't. At 11:35, the first shots were fired. At 11:40, the official assault by the Russian forces was taken down. Just mere 10 minutes later, at 11:50, all 6 of them were killed. And what should be also mentioned, that some of them had their hands handcuffed. So how it happened? Some of them decided to just give up, but they were handcuffed, and when they were handcuffed, they were killed by the Russian security forces. I've seen the videos where they're lying on their stomach, their hands are cuffed, but their head shotted. I mean, why would you handcuff someone who's already having 3 bullets in his head? Just, idiotic. So yeah, they were killed after they were taken. Honestly, a fair fate for someone such as them. Now we'll go slowly commenting from piece to piece. We had a great commentator called Vladimir Tatarsky. He was killed by the Ukrainian agency around a year ago. So let's just unlog this and go to him. I'm typing it in Russian. So he was a Russian commentator, a military correspondent. He was cowardly taken down, and it happened when a girl. It happened around a year ago when a girl brought a statue of him as a gift. He was having a talk with his fans at some local restaurant, but that statue of him was filled with the explosives. And that's the girl. Daria Trepova, she was the one who carried a statue filled with the explosives that later detonated. I think she got the max prison. She either received 25 or 25 years in prison or a lifetime, not sure. Yeah, but she got contacted by the Ukrainian forces. They offered her to pay money. She had liberal views. She wanted all the stuff to end in Donbass, so she decided to take that step, thinking it will do any good. Unfortunately not. People only started to hate him because not only the guy Vladimir was killed, but also some other people were killed and seriously harmed. Now let's go to here. And what it is what he said. Well, of course he couldn't say it, but it's what the some bits of his book about. So basically, he wrote a autobiography about himself way ago, and this is one of the extras they could find that was later proved by the admins running his social media channel, that in a lot of detention centers in Russia there are so-called jail Jamaat. Jamaat is an Arabic term for like a collective group of highly religious people. Those people who were jailed for terrorism and participation in illegal armed military organizations are having an active propaganda activity by trying to draw more members to their movement, including the guards in their jail colony. It is personally known by me that there was one case how in Siberia a Tajik, so a citizen of Tajikistan, well, ethnically a Tajikistani person, it's Central Asia, turned into Islam one of the Russian special forces guardsmen, who then later on decided to quit his job and joined to fight on the side of ISIS in the east. So imagine this bizarre situation when a guy such as him persuades this guy into being on his side. Also should be mentioned that before we had a dire rise of Islam in Russia, there were red and black zones on the jail sites. We had the red zones, which were ruled by the administration, which were ruled by the government, and we had black zones, the ones that were ruled by the local mafia in the prison, who corrupted the government. On the other hand, we have nowadays green zones that are ruled by the leaders of radical Islamist organizations who corrupted the government with money, because green is the color of Islam. So previously we had red administration, black mafia, and now we got green, the Muslims. Let's go back. What is more interesting... Why am I getting tagged? What is interesting that the former chief of this prison in the Rostov region, let me just show you on the maps where that Rostov region is. So Rostov maps. So this happened on Rostov-on-Don, where there was like a Wagner revolt in June last year. If you want to know, Rostov is located somewhere over here, so it's very close to Ukraine, to Central Asia, so it would be easy pretty for those ISIS guys to recruit them. Now let's back to talking. So it happened. The former chief of these detention centers in Rostov region was Muslim Magomedovich Dahaev. I mean, you can hear by the name, whose name is Muslim. The middle name is Magomedovich, which comes from Magomed, a variation of Muhammad in Russia, and whose last name is Dahaev. The current guy who is the vice executive of the prison is Jamal Nabiev. I mean, you can kind of see how the guys whose names are directly related to Islam would allow such a situation to happen. What is especially funny about this whole situation is that not so long ago there were reports in the internet how this particular prison is one of the most secure ones. So just on the 10th of June, literally 6 days ago, this Jamal Nabiev said that this is one of the most secure detention centers with one of the most professional experts in their area. This is just outrageous in my opinion. They also attached these photos where we can see the guys who are literally like 18 years old. They look so young, taking down the Kalashnikov. We can see the diagrams of this Kalashnikov located over here, how to handle it, the compartments labeled, useless, no idea why would they show it to someone who must have gone a certain training. You can see the same AK-47 here. It has no magazine. You can see the bulletproof, well, I hope it's a bulletproof helmet. These guys, again, this guy looks like the same guy we've seen on the first pic. So they're just trying to show that they're so equipped and very much well prepared. And this is last pic where we're holding the same, yeah, it looks like to be the same AK-47. The label here says loaded, presumably saying that the magazines presented here are loaded with bullets. That's why it says loaded over here, like that. It's what it comes to this pic. Now we're done with this. Let's also mention more details. Now let's actually go over the arrestees themselves. So, I'm not going to involve into their names and middle names. I'm just going to go over their surnames. Saipudinov, Titskiev, Kamenev, Giriev, Akiyev, and the last one is unsure, but he's from ISIS. We have this guy called Kamenev. He is an ethnical Russian. He's a very interesting guy. We're just going to come back to him later once we deal with the others. So, what is especially interesting that these guys were jailed for terrorism attempts, for illegal arms trading, participating in illegal activities, etc., etc., etc. The main key point here is all 6 of them were held in a single cell. Just think about it for a moment. All 6 of these guys, I'm just going to turn off the sound, were held in the same prison cell. All 6 of them. They've cooperated nicely throughout the years, throughout the months of their, captivity, so we're perfectly prepared. This guy's again shaking very much. He might be on drugs or something. He might be a bit I think he must be very, very nervous. He's shaking a lot. And actually, these guys were detained in May. So, some of them, I think it was last year or this year, not sure. Either it was last year, either it was this year, but these guys were detained. I think it was in December actually. Yeah, I think this December these guys were detained. 3 of them at least were detained on the basis of trying to blow up. So okay, let's read this. In Cherkasy region, the Federal Security Service have detained 3 Caucasians who were trying to commit an act of terrorism. They were recruited and guided by the Syrian imams. Imam is basically a priest in Islam. And were filled with these radical ideas. They arrived at Cherkasy, where they rented a flat and wanted to blow up one of the administrative buildings belonging to the government. They've acquired components for the explosives, but on the stage of preparing the bomb, manufacturing it, they were detained by the Russian Security Service. Now we're going to see a video. It's going to be a long one, 3 minutes, so I'm going to stop it and comment bit by bit how they were detained. Let's make this one nice and big. Just over here, turn off the sound because I've checked on the footage, it sounds very silent, and started. This guy was slapped on the face. They've been repeatedly told to lie down on the ground and basically not move. hands behind your back is what the guy is saying. One of them is carrying a gun which seems to have a silencer on its tip. And now he's been handcuffed. He's asking whether they have guns on them. All of them, by the way, are having military gloves, as you can see, black coats, light jeans, and military gloves. These ones. Handcuffed. The gun is placed on his back to keep him secure so he won't move. They told him to spread his legs so they could carefully check whether he has anything on his body. Literally anything.
Один? Да. А вот два товарища, кто это такие?
Познакомились.
Познакомились?
He's been asked, did you come here? He says yes. And who are those two guys? Comrades. Did you meet them? Yes, I met them. They're having their jeans tied high, so they won't have any knives, because sometimes how actually it happens is that sometimes in the military you can store a knife over here, and when you're reaching, for example, to tie your laces on your shoes, you can pick up that knife and defend yourself. So they're having their jeans up, so it will be clearly observable that they have no knives or any cold weapons on them whatsoever. Well, not cold weapons, but like cold arms, basically. Okay.
Приехали с ребят.
Зачем? С какой целью?
Чтобы людей напугать.
С какой целью конкретно? Что значит напугать?
He asks him, why did you come here? We came here to scare people. With which aim of scaring the people?
Ну, в прямом смысле напугать людей.
Каким
Literally, to scare the people.
образом, я тебя спрашиваю?
Which way, I'm asking you?
Ну, со взрывчаткой.
With the explosives.
Где эта взрывчатка?
Where is the explosive?
У нас ее нет просто.
We don't have it.
Мы не успели.
We didn't have time to do it.
Вы хотели собрать?
Да.
Did you want to manufacture it? Well, manufacture in terms of, to handmade it. Did you want to make it? Yes, the guy replies.
Что здесь делали?
Просто приехал.
What are you doing here? We just came here. And just, not like recently, but just like for no particular purpose. You can see actually the guy has bits of strawberry jam. I assume this guy must be a sweet tooth, because he seems to have a lot of strawberry jam on his head. He must like strawberries and jam in particular.
Просто приехал?
Посмотреть город.
Oh, bro. Actually, it's my first time seeing here. I am literally seeing this feed for the first time. I didn't watch it. I didn't prepare for this particular one. I'm just commenting as it is without any particular beforehand preparation. The guy asks him, why did you come here? This guy replies, to look at the city. Just to look at the city? Yes. Just to look at the city as visitors.
Что находится на квартире?
Вещество белое.
What is at your apartment? The white substance.
Взрывчатое?
Да.
Explosive? Yes.
Кто ее изготовил?
Я не наблюдал, я спал.
Who made it? I wasn't watching it. I was sleeping.
Твои товарищи готовили?
Я не знаю, я не спрашиваю таких моментов.
Were your comrades the one who were making it? I don't know. I'm not asking them at such moments.
Да, там один. Нет, один вышел, больше нет. Вы последний. Видно очень.
Now you can see that this guy is actually assembling the explosive kit. So this guy is going to enter and defuse the, take out any, check the apartments whether there are any other explosive substances or already made bombs. Yeah, you can see the guy is fully equipped, all in Kevlar, from toes to the head. So what this comes? So this poses a serious question. How could these guys, who were literally making explosives with the intent to kill, located at the same jail cell? Let's come to the second guy. This particular person is very much interesting. As I said, Kamenev was a Russian who was turned to Islam. And now we're going to read a quick thing. So, one of the liquidated, killed people was one guy who was called Daniil Kamenev. Daniil Kamenev. He was a skinhead, and for that matter, he went to jail. Being in jail, the Islamists have turned him into Islam by telling him that he would be beaten severely to death otherwise. After being freed from the prison, he, with his companion Sabili Mamedovoi, was planning on exploding one of the buildings belonging to the Ministry of Domestic Affairs in Kislovodsk in 2021, and as the result of which he went to jail again. So if you don't know who a skinhead is, I will quickly guide you through that. So skinhead is actually a white supremacist. Skinhead are anti-Semites. They don't like the Jews. They are being very racist, and they're mostly white supremacists. They like to wear these military heavy boots with white laces to show the white dominance. Why they're called skinheads? For a very simple reason. They, well, this is not the one we're looking for. This is quite the opposite. Skinhead is a subculture where you shave your head to show the Aryan skull, the Aryan in terms of the white skull, the skull of a white person, of a European. That's why you shave your head. Of course, we have some heads, people like this, skinheads against racial prejudice, skinheads against racial, also called sharps, featuring a Greek helmet. Like the Spartanians used to wear in Sparta. These guys are also skinheads, but they're not white fascists. They're quite opposite. They're usually communists, anti-racists, and etc. etc. Just one of the subcultures that exist in the world. And I will show you the video how this guy, who was a Russian, was detained. Well, in this video, it's 2021, we can see the Muslim girl over here. And this video, he was already this dangerous Muslim who was preparing to explode buildings.
Что он хотел сделать?
Взорвать участок
Какой участок?
полиции, где он отвечает.
What did he want to do? He wanted to explode one of the detention centers where he's being checked on a regular basis.
Что он для этого сделал?
Он сделал самодельные гранаты.
What did he do for that purpose? He made homemade, handmade grenades.
Смотрите, вот пакет еще.
And now they're basically talking, I forgot the word in English, I think it's called selenium, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, it doesn't really translate well as I would want to do. Ah, I see. So it's the nitrate-based salts of potassium, sodium, ammonia that are used in pyrotechniques for making explosive stuff. So basically, he got the nitrate. You know, like the nitrate fertilizer that he used to fertilize the soil for farming, but it can also be used to make explosives. And we can see a lot of here. There are documents, fake phones, a lot of these nitrate-based fertilizers, and here we have some Sumaya, Khalid, Musab, Usman, some Muslim posters. And here we have the acetate. That's also one of the components. I'm not be talking over how you make those. It's bannable, but just know that you can use nitrate-based and some acetate to make explosives. This is on the Muslim posters.
Это проповедники чего?
It might not be very clear on the video, but the guy behind the camera asks, what are you the preachers of? And he asks of the caliphate.
А к какой организации они относятся?
Ее называют исламское государство еще.
Which organization are you affiliated with? The Islamic State.
Помимо лекций, что ты еще просматривал?
Ролики по обучению СВО, как сделать СВО.
К чему?
Despite watching the lectures about Islam, what are you also watching? And he answers videos about making explosives.
Называли данные ролики?
Джихад.
What were these videos calling to do? To do jihad. Jihad in Islam is a religious war that you wage against the infidels in order to show them that Islam is the true religion.
К чему это привело?
Посмотрел в телеграм-каналах, как делать СВО. Начал закупил материал и сделал СВО.
Да, он мне давал слушать.
So, what did it lead you into doing? I went to Telegram, it's a social media platform famous in Russia. I went to Telegram, found the videos there, how to make the explosives, and started doing them.
Лекции, также видеоролики, в которых говорилось о ведении джихада, вот, о террористических всяких актах, о том, что нужно бороться с кафирами. Да, я была в курсе.
And the girl says, yes, I knew that he was watching those. He was watching videos about jihad, about the urge to fight the kafirs. The kafirs are disbelievers in Islam. Let's rewatch this bit.
Вот, о террористических всяких актах, о том, что нужно бороться с кафирами.
The kafirami, how she says, through terrorist acts to fight the kafirs.
Да, я была в курсе, так как он готовил террористический акт, покупая при этом необходимое оснащение для изготовления самодельных взрывных устройств.
Yes, I was aware that he was doing so because he was buying the equipment needed to make those self-explosive devices.
Он сказал, что 5 апреля он собирается совершить теракт в отделении полиции, там, где он отмечается.
He said that on the 5th of April he was planning on committing a terrorist act at the local police department where he was, checked on a regular basis.
Вот, и собирается стать шахидом.
And the last bit, he wants to become a shaheed. Shaheed is like a mujahid. It's a martyr who dies in the name of Islam. He goes to heaven, but he dies in the battle. Because he was fulfilling a holy purpose, fighting jihad, spreading it across the world. So even a Russian guy who was like a white fascist was converted to that. One of the most interesting things is how the public reacted to that. For example, immediately one of the main propagandists in Russia said, Vladimir Solovyov, who is Jewish, he sided basically with them, saying that these guys were trained by the Ukrainian Nazis. No comment on that whatsoever. Nonetheless, a number of other affiliated with the government channels started proposing their side of view, that the main Imam Akhund of Rostov region, Muhammad Bikmaev, came unarmed to the bandits to hold the negotiations, trying to persuade the terrorists into releasing the hostages in the Rostov detention center. A brave man. The terrorists refused to give up and were subsequently killed. And this is the full pic. So it's what we can see is happening. This guy wearing a cap, Imam all in white, and these are the terrorists holding the hostage. Now, I can't say whether this photo is true or not. I suspect it might be true, but you can never be sure nowadays. But what I'm going to definitely say is, look at this. We've got Muslims committing terrorist acts in the prison itself, and then we got this noble Muslim hero on the other hand who comes to save everyone. So this current domestic policy of Russia is... Oh, who keeps spamming me? The current domestic policy of Russia is, whenever we have this terrorist act being committed, we must present a noble figure of non-Russian ethnicity who will come as a brave hero and save everyone. This is exactly what I would call woke, yet in the wrap-over of the modern Russian government culture. With that being said, we might as well comment on the very last thing we have here, is that as the governor of the Rostov region, Vasily Golubev, said that the capture of these hostages in the detention center 1 on Rostov-on-Don was used for provocations. So a lot of Telegram channels were spreading this hate to start a multinational conflict. And what I mean here is what he was basically saying, that as even the president himself, Putin, often says that we live in an international, multinational, multi-faith society where every faith is honored. Muslims respect Christians and vice versa, and every ethnicity respects each other. And what was happening today was nothing but an act of the purest form of provocation that's used to spread hate across our multinational and multi-religious country. Not sure what he would say if his, for example, daughter or son was killed in an action. This guy wasn't killed. I'm just, taking him in a box. But still, can't comment on that. Fortunately, as someone who is Jewish, I've never had a problem with Muslims in Russia. Only a number of times. Not a single time with the Christians. Not a single time I've had a problem with Christians, but there were quite a couple of times where I had problems with Muslims in Russia. And as a Jewish person, I'm feeling slightly concerned about that. I'm slightly concerned for my security, but we'll see how it turns out. On that note, I would say that we've pretty much discovered everything we could have. We don't have any people joining us. Unfortunately, we just had barely one person join. Other than that, it was very empty. But I guess to all my dearest listeners on my website, on YouTube, I give my most heartful thanks that we could spend such nice time together. It's been just slightly over an hour. I will stop chatting, saying things for now, and thank you all for coming here. I just wanted to, to show the events what was happening, so you could also, understand. I had a number of topics I wanted to discuss, but it turns out that this topic was so recent and so, familiar in a way, because it happened in a country where I live, that I just couldn't pass but delve into this topic. With that being said, I would like to thank you all for being here, for coming. I will give credits to Vladislav Poznikov, who is a pro-Russian, social media celebrity. I was taking a lot of information from him, so big thanks to him. I will even show you a pic of him. He is, by the way, wanted in Russia. He's not allowed to come to Russia, but this is the guy. You can see very tough, very buff guy who likes to do sport. That's him. So big thanks to him. I was taking the information from his Telegram channel, not only from his channel, from a number of channels, but mostly from his channel. On that note, thank you all for coming here. It was a pleasure, and see you next time, and goodbye.